complaint in court, as well as a motion for a writ of mandamus. That matter is set to be heard on Wednesday of next week at 8:30 a.m. I am here to ask you to do the right thing right now, and that is to uphold your charge of certifying all eligible candidates for this August primary ballot. The position that we have stated is consistent with what is going on right now in the area. The city clerk in Detroit received the same type of challenge that Mayor Waterman received, and the city clerk has taken a position that her function is ministerial. She does not have the authority to investigate beyond the four corners of the affidavit of identity, and she did not refuse to certify the candidate based on that challenge. We do not believe that the clerk in this position has the authority to refuse to certify Mayor Waterman as a candidate. And I would ask you to remember that the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was designed so that the people could elect representatives of their choice. By eliminating the candidate, you are minimizing the choice of the people. And that should not be the goal of what this commission is designed to do. So we are asking you to certify Mayor Waterman, to follow the local authorities. I would also note that the Taylor mayor had the same type of challenge, and he was just given a temporary restraining order, and that election commission was ordered to certify him as a candidate for mayor of Taylor. They did follow that court order. And again, the Detroit City Clerk took the same position. So it is not unprecedented for this election commission to certify her. It is consistent with the law right now. And if it's not done here, we will end up in court. If it is done, we will withdraw our petition, and we will simply ask that the voters of Pontiac have a full opportunity to really vote for the candidate of their choice. Thank you so much for your time.
The next person on the list is Mark E. Holland.
To the honorable convention, first just let me say for those that's watching, I hope you guys are paying attention to all this pettiness, and for those that's listening, I hope you guys are paying attention to all this pettiness and all this dirt. We haven't even started yet, and this is ridiculous. My thing is this is the process. If I brought in my paperwork on the 19th, no one called to say that my paperwork wasn't correct. It was stamped by the Notary Public, everyone's seen it, and so from that day, the 19th, we have our way to the 20th at 4 o'clock to say that your paperwork is incorrect. I had to find out that my paperwork was incorrect from the streets. I had no formal response from anyone, and I don't know if that's the process or not. But then I heard someone else say that they got an opportunity to verify that they either changed their address or not, or verify if a law was broken. Well, let me just say for clarity, there's no way that I could have broken the law, purged myself, because we didn't see a box. The box or didn't say check here, and the box definitely was overlooked. I haven't had my glasses for a year yet, for those that care. I have a prescription. But just let me say this. I had to go home and ask my mom, was I a United States citizen? Because there's no one in this room that's watching, or no one else could tell you where they were born. And so, knowing that I used to be a city council councilman, knowing that I was the last person to come out of the last primary for mayor, and that the question that I'm a citizen, it should have been brought to my attention way before 4 o'clock on the 20th to say, well, look, not only that the office missed it, you missed it, the Notary Public missed it, that a box wasn't checked that didn't say check. And so by signing that box, signing my signature, is definitely saying that I am a United States citizen. And if that was questioned, I should have been afforded the opportunity to bring in a birth certificate to say I was born here at General Hospital. But if politics has gotten this petty, that the leaders here that claimed to be our moms and pops, that care about us, that watched us grow up, to go out and get somebody from 3 cities over to come to be this petty, not only am I hurt, I'm more disappointed with this process. Let everyone get on this ballot to be voted upon. And another part of this process, I didn't see nowhere where it say you get to get kicked off the ballot because you're here. You get kicked off the ballot because you have a handicap provision. Just like the person couldn't hear and you tell them to move, are they responsible? But I couldn't see. And if that's what it is, well, I know you guys have a job to do and I'm not going to criticize that, but thank you for my opportunity.
Next person on the list is Jim Kelly.
Good afternoon. My name is Jim Kelly. I'm an attorney here on behalf of Jonathan Townsend with regard to a complaint that was filed challenging the candidacy and the eligibility to serve in office of Timothy Grimel. We heard Mr. Grimel speak earlier today. I was surprised at that because the complaint is not on the agenda. I was disappointed to see that despite this well-founded complaint, the clerk did not put it on the agenda for today's meeting. And I would urge the commissioners to take up this complaint when they discuss the eligibility of the candidates. The complaint is very well-founded. The timeline of things are not in dispute. You heard Mr. Grimel admit earlier today that he needs to be a resident of the city of Pontiac after July 1st, July 3rd, 2021, to qualify to be mayor if he's elected, because the term begins July 3rd, 2022. He must be a resident for 1 year before that. Equally clear is his filings that he made with the Oakland County Clerk. Those are a matter of public record. And unlike a lease or unlike other documents, not something that you could manipulate after the fact, because they're online, everyone can see them. His campaign statement that he filed July 25th of this year, so after July 3rd, clearly showed his address in Auburn Hills, Michigan, not the city of Pontiac. He declared and attested under oath under penalties of perjury that he was a resident of the city of Auburn Hills. As such, he's not eligible to serve as mayor if he was elected. He's not even eligible to be on the ballot for this election. He should not be permitted to contest this election because it does not meet the resident qualifications of the city charter. The city charter is an important document. It is the most important document for the city. It is the Constitution and it is the spirit of this city. It's approved by the voters and the people. I will refer you to section 4.101 of the charter, which clearly states this 1 year residency, clearly sets out the time. I would also urge you to take a look at the campaign statement, the campaign finance statement that Mr. Grimel filed under his own hand, signed by himself, January 25th, 2021. It clearly shows the Auburn Hills residence. He's not a resident of the city of Pontiac. He's not eligible to run for election. He's not eligible to serve if he's elected. Thank you.
The next person to speak is Deidre Waterman.
Good afternoon, Honorable Commission and citizens of Pontiac. I am Mayor Deidre Waterman, second term, who has proudly served the city of Pontiac. I'm here to make very certain that I am a candidate for re-election for mayor of the city of Pontiac, and I will be a candidate for the mayor of the city of Pontiac. I am very proud of what we have accomplished, and my message will be continuing the progress we have made together with the city of Pontiac. With the many partners we've brought in and many resources we've made available to the city of Pontiac. Last week, in accordance with the charter, I delivered my 8th budget to the city council. The balanced budget is required, but not only that, even after a year of COVID-19 economic problems, I reported that we are going to forecast a surplus, not only for this year, but for the next fiscal year as well. That is an extremely good position for the city to be in terms of financial stability, considering we fought our way back from despair when I started as mayor. Not to mention the fact that we've improved our neighborhoods, made them more beautiful. We have improved public safety. We have contributed to the infrastructure. I'm going to use more money for our infrastructure repair. And we're going to do the things that help to increase the pride of the citizens of Pontiac, not only in the neighborhoods, but bringing in so many new businesses and jobs and jobs and jobs and security for our community. So that's the message I'm gonna take out during my candidacy. And that's what I hope the citizens of Pontiac are going to consider. I want and should be on the ballot because it should be the citizens of the city who get to determine who they vote for. And that is why I'm here. I've served the city of Pontiac citizens proudly. I will continue to do that in whatever role they want me to play. But those are the people that we should be hearing. And with all the attorneys speaking, that's the missing element in this decision today. Depend upon the election commission for you to do your job. Thank you. I appreciate the chance to be heard.
The next person on the list is Maurice Mahal.
Hey, how y'all doing? By accident, I was just signing in. I didn't know I was supposed to be up here speaking. But since I'm up here, I'm going to say something. I've been a citizen of Pontiac all my life. And this city needs to focus more on the kids here. I coach football, I coach basketball. Every kid in this city knows who I am. And I think it's time that we focus more on our youth here. Our youth need the city of Pontiac more. There's so much going on with our kids, and it's like no one's paying attention to it. And the point I'm trying to make is, whoever, and give these people who are coming up here to have a position of mayor a chance to run, let the citizens have a chance to vote who they want. But whoever, and I'm asking you, whoever gets in, focus more on our kids. Focus more on our kids. These kids need us. And it's a saying that every time you look up a kid, it's either this or that in a bad manner. There's no motivation for our kids anymore. Open our eyes up and focus on these kids. We are so focused on businesses coming here and this and that. Focus on these kids. That's what it's about. My brother over here bring the Bible, what the Lord say, love who first? Love the kids. We too focused on the wrong things right now and not focused on our kids. Look at our high school, look at our middle school, all these schools around here. So where do our kids have to go? In the streets every day. When I was young, you couldn't go out to the streets. You had centers, you had schools, you had activities for the kids. None of that's around here no more. Stop being blind to these kids. These kids need us. Kids are the future. When we leave here, who has to run this place? The kids. We need someone to put them in the right direction. Stop having a closed eye to these kids and wake up, city of Pontiac. Wake up, city of Pontiac. Our kids need us. I'm tired of going home nights and hearing about so-and-so has lost a child. I was looking at the news one day, how they say Pontiac high school education is the bottom of the barrel. How do you think that make us parents feel? Focus more on these kids. We bring the jobs, we got the jobs, we got the bring the education pipeline to Pontiac. That's what you do. Bring the education. If the kid is learning and want to learn in school, he will motivate his parents to go out and work. But if the kid, y'all have focus more on these kids. Thank you.
And the last speaker for public comment is Veronica Taylor.
Good evening, this honorable body. First, I would like to ask God for prayer for the city of Pontiac. We deeply need prayer here in this city. Not just this city, this whole country. And as I ask God to do the right thing, first, let me tell you a little bit of what I've been through in the last month or so. I have, as a registered, sworn in precinct delegate for 2 counties. I had some people want to bring a challenge here as I go and do my work as a real precinct delegate of helping getting people on ballot. Everybody that wants to run for a seat has the right to. No one should be able to tell no one they can't run for a seat. Now, if they got their paperwork in order, their I's dotted and crossed, and all their stuff is did, then they should be able to run. Now, we did, as me taking in and walking in this clerk's office with a lot of them that I helped, I have two, which I seen, watched them do their affidavit. Mr. Mark Collins that ran for mayor of the city, tried to put his glasses on to see, to put his dot, to make sure he had did what he needed to do. And he just got his glasses, couldn't do them and get them right. And he passed his paperwork over to our clerk. And as she read it, she could have seen that the box was not checked there before she notarized it. Now, to have people to come and sit and challenge knowing this man or any other, like Perry Earl, that did his, he had two papers that he notarized right in front of me, and he did not see it. And the challenge, can they run to sit on the ballot? Here is a youth. As I knocked at them doors and got those signatures for over a bunch, 7 to be exactly, I heard so much from the people. And the people are complaining that we are putting people in office, look like they just our friends, and not listening to them. Now, to say they do want some new mayors here, they do want some new stuff did. But we need to think about, not challenge these people that's sitting up here if they work here. We all have candidates here that we all support. Miss Maddie Hackett has hers. We all have ours. Every candidate in here, even y'all up there working, that shouldn't even be a call. The call should be, what kind of job is y'all gonna do for this city? Because I have heard what this city needs. And God needs to clean up Pontiac, not the people. Thank you.
So that concludes public comment on our agenda. The next item on the agenda is the city clerk certification report. I want to begin by reading the from the city charter. Section 2.108, which says primary election. Nominations for each elective office shall be made by a city primary election. However, whenever not more than 2 persons file for nomination to an office, there shall be no primary election for the office. The city clerk shall certify such persons as duly nominated for that office, and the name of the persons who file shall be placed on the general election ballot for the office. I also want to read, so we're clear about who has the duty to do what. From the election commission section 2.105. The city election commission is composed of the city clerk, the city attorney, and the city treasurer. This was amended in March 2016. In the initial charter, it was the city assessor who was a member of the commission. The commission has general supervision of all elections in the city and may hire assistants, inspectors, and other election personnel. Except as otherwise provided by this charter or ordinance, the commission shall perform all duties required of election commissions by law. It may subpoena witnesses, administer oaths, take testimony, and require the production of evidence. To enforce a subpoena or order for production of evidence, or to impose any penalty prescribed for failure to comply a subpoena or order, the commission shall apply to the appropriate court. All meetings of the commission shall be open to the public. In case of any doubt concerning the election procedure, the commission shall prescribe the procedure to be followed. Then I also want to read from the Michigan election law, and y'all do know that state law supersedes municipal law. And this is Michigan Election Law Act 116 of 1954, 1.68588, filing nominations, qualifying petitions, filing fee or affidavit of candidacy, affidavit of identity, requirement to indicate name change, exception statement, non-compliance, selection of office to which candidacy restricted, failure to make selection, perjury, separate violation. Section 5581, when filing a nominating petition, qualifying petition, filing fee, and affidavit of the candidacy for a federal county, state, city, township, village, metropolitan district, or school district office to any election, a candidate shall file with the officer with whom the petition's fee or affidavit is filed 2 copies of an affidavit of identity. A candidate nominated for federal, state, county, city, township, or village office at a political party convention or caucus shall file an affidavit of identity within 1 business day after being nominated with the Secretary of State. The affidavit of identity filing requirement does not apply to a candidate nominated for the office of President of the United States or Vice President of the United States. 2, an affidavit of identity must contain the candidate's name and residential address, a statement that this candidate is a citizen of the United States, the title of the office sought, a statement that the candidate meets the constitutional and statutory qualifications for the office sought, other information that may be required to satisfy the officer as to the identity of the candidate and the manner in which the candidate wishes to have his or her name appear on the ballot. If a candidate is using a name that is not the name that he or she was given at birth, the candidate shall include an affidavit of identity, the candidate's full former name. 3, the requirement to indicate a name change of the affidavit of identity does not apply if the name in question is one of the following: a name that was formally changed at least 10 years before filing as a candidate, a name that was changed in the certification of naturalization issued by a federal district court at the time the individual became a naturalized citizen at least 10 years before filing as a candidate, the name that has changed because of marriage, the name that has changed because of divorce, but only if a legal name by which the individual was previously known, a name that constitutes a common law name as provided in section 560B. An affidavit of identity must include the statement as the date of the affidavit. All statements, reports, late filing fees and fines required of the candidate or the candidate committee organized to support the candidate's election under the Michigan Campaign Finance Act, 1976, PA 388 MCL 169.201 to 169.282 have been filed or paid. In a statement that the candidate acknowledged that making a false statement in the affidavit is perjury, punishable by a fine up to $1,000 or imprisonment up to 5 years or both. If a candidate files the affidavit of identity with an officer other than the county clerk or secretary of state, the officer shall immediately forward to the county clerk 1 copy of the affidavit of identity by first class mail. The county clerk shall immediately forward 1 copy of the affidavit of identity for state and federal candidates to the Secretary of State by first class mail. An officer shall not certify to the Board of Election Commissioners the name of the candidate who fails to comply with this section or the name of the candidate who executes an affidavit of identity that contains a false statement with regard to any information or statement required under this section. If petitions or filing fees are filed by or on behalf of a candidate for more than 1 office, either federal, state, county, city, village, township, metropolitan district, or school district, the terms of which run concurrently or overlap the candidate so filing, or on behalf of whom petitions or fees were filed, shall select the 1 office to which his or her candidacy is restricted within 3 days after the last day of the filing of petitions or filing fees, unless the petition or filing fees are filed for 2 offices that are combined for office that are not incompatible. Failure to make the selection disqualifies a candidate with respect to each office for which the petitions or fees were so filed, and the name of the candidate must not be printed upon the ballot for those offices. A vote cast for that candidate at the ensuing primary or general election must not be counted and is void. A violation of this section for perjury is distinct and separate from any violation of the Michigan Finance Campaign Act, 1976, PA 388 MCL 169.201 to 169.282. And I read that to start off before my certification report, so where it is very clear as to who is the certifying officer. It's clearly stated in the charter, the responsibilities of the clerk and the responsibilities of this election commission is further stated in the state law. It further states in the state law what I shall not do. So I've also asked, Mr. Brewer, if you could come to the podium, because I've asked for, some legal assistance, because I too may have thought some things could have been possibly petty or whatever, but I want to make sure that as the clerk, because I took the oath of office, that I was following the duties of my office. So that's why, Mr. Brewer.
And I would absolutely object to Mr. Brewer talking.
Yeah, so would I.
The election, the charter.
Excuse
Hey, no,
me.
let me state my objection. This is a.
You're out of order. You're out of order.
This
This
is
is
a point of order,
during my,
and you are out
no,
of
no, this is during my report. You're out of order. I'm the chair of the meeting. Go ahead, Ms.
No,
Miller.
your report is you talking. He has not been hired by this commission, and this commission does have the authority to hire consultants. We have not done so. He does not give legal advice to us. He can speak during public comment. He is nobody to this board other than an individual member of the public. He absolutely is inappropriate if he's speaking right now.
You're out of order and you're incorrect with that. Furthermore, an ordinance that was actually done while your law firm was the city attorney gives the city clerk the authorization to hire anyone as long as there is funds in the city clerk's budget. So please check the ordinance that is enacted.
I fully understand that, and that's when you're acting as the city attorney. We are sitting at our city clerk. We are sitting here as the charter commission, as the election commission, and we're having a meeting of the election commission. He has no authority to speak on this matter. If you want,
I agree.
then we can have it. It's wholly inappropriate.
I think I agree with that, we have not appointed him as a consultant. So, I don't think it's appropriate for him to speak.
Yeah, I would make a motion not to hear the statements of Mr. Bower.
I second it.
I believe you're in essence out of order because as part of the certification report is in essence my particular report, and it's the city clerk's certification report. It's not the commission's certification report. It's the city clerk's certification report. So as a part of making my certification report and as a part of the ordinance that is enacted, he is operating in the capacity of advising in essence the city clerk. So this is totally, but Mr. He can then therefore could have spoken under public comment. So he can be given in essence 3 minutes like any member of the public to in essence speak.
Public comment is over.
Public,
That is not appropriate, and there is a motion on the floor.
because I want it very noted that I think this commission is acting totally out of order on several different particular instances, but neither in essence it said, I believe that there was a case by the Court of Appeals that in essence has ruled as to what the authority of the commission and in essence, I guess the clerk on these types of matters. But, I'll continue with my certification report. If the commission so chooses, I guess now for Mr. Brewer to speak, then I just want to note that I believe that the commission is out of order, and that's why I have a stenographer here to take it verbatim, word by word. I also want to note that I believe that the city attorney is acting out a capacity because I've stated, I want this on the record, that as a member of the commission, you cannot be the legal advisor to the commission.
So are you requesting, or are you withdrawing your request that Mr. Brewer speak, or do you want us to move forward?
I had made a request for Mr. Brewer to speak. I said as a part of my certification report, I was allowing Mr. Brewer to be a part of that in essence presentation. And I don't think the commission has the authority to tell me what should be in essence in my report. It's my report. So as a part of my report, I think it's more than appropriate for Mr. Brewer to speak.
Again, it's your report. You could have put it in the written report, or you could have included him on the agenda or added him to the agenda at the proper time. This isn't the proper time. Like I said, we have a motion on the floor. So if you're going to withdraw your request to have him speak, then I'll withdraw the motion and we can move forward.
I'm not withdrawing my request to have him speak because I didn't make a request to have him speak.
I call for the vote on the motion.
Because he is a part of, I'm giving my certification report. I don't believe the commission has the authority to tell me how to, in essence, do a report, and I am the certifying officer of.
Call for a vote on the motion.
Yes.
Yes.
No. So I will continue with my certification report. Matter of fact, I think I need to read this so that this is in the record. Enclosed is my certification report. As the certifying officer for the city of Pontiac, I'm providing you with a list of certified candidates for the office of mayor, city council, and library board. If I was unable to certify a candidate, the reason is stated. In addition, I have included the list of candidate eligibility challenges that I received, as well as candidate responses to a challenge. So we did I did make sure that there were copies of the agenda packet. So as it relates to candidates for mayor, Jeremy Bowie, the city clerk has certified Wanda Denise Coates, certified Tim Grimo, certified Mark Holland, ineligible. Mr. Holland is ineligible because he did not complete the attestation section of the affidavit. I'm a citizen of the United States and I meet the statutory and constitutional requirements for the office sought was not completed. I did contact, just for the benefit of the public and all, to see if that was something that the clerk had discretion on. And unfortunately, the clerk did not have discretion. If that box was not checked, then you had to be, it was my duty to have to rule you, in essence, ineligible. Alexandria T. Riley, clerk certified. Deidre Waterman, ineligible. The candidate made a false statement on an affidavit. Ms. Waterman failed to file a 2020 annual report, a 2020 October quarterly report, a 2020 July quarterly report, a 2019 annual report, a 2019 October quarterly report, and a 2019 July quarterly report, and with the office of the Oakland County Clerk on or before the date she signed the affidavit on April 13th, 2021. As I had previously read, if an officer shall not certify to the Board of Election Commissioners the name of the candidate who fails to comply with this section, or the name of the candidate who executes an affidavit of identity that contains a false statement with regards to any information or statement required under this section. It was so as it relates to Deidre Waterman, I received a communication from Joseph Roselle, the Director of Elections for Oakland County Clerk, Register /Register of Deeds, on April 21st. It said, "Dear Mr. Doyle, my office is in receipt of the affidavit of identity for mayoral candidate Deidre Waterman. After review of our records, we have determined that Ms. Waterman failed to file a 2020 annual report, a 2020 October quarterly report, a 2020 July quarterly report, a 2019 annual report, a 2019 October quarterly report, a 2019 July quarterly report, MCL 168558, subsection 4, as amended, states in part, an affidavit of identity must include a statement that as of the date of the affidavit, all statements, reports, late filing fees, and fines required of the candidate or any candidate committee have been filed or paid. The statute further states that as an officer shall not certify to the Board of Election Commissioners the name of the candidate who fails to comply with this section, or a name of the candidate who executes an affidavit of identity that contains a false statement. Please consider this as a notice to not certify Ms. Waterman as a candidate to your Board of Election Commissioners." So that concludes the candidates for mayor. Candidates for city council in District 1, Marcus Bowman, certified. Karen Platten Jorgensen, certified. Sean Preston, certified. Julia M. Ruffin, certified. Melanie Rutherford, certified. Candidates for City Council District 2, Brett Nicholson, certified. Megan E. Shramsky, certified. Coleman Yocum, certified. Candidates for City Council District 3, Michael Goodman, certified. Mary E. Pila, certified. Candidates for City Council District 4, Ashley Alderman, certified. Randy Carter, certified. Kathleen W. James, certified. Candidates for City Council District 5, Gloria Miller, certified. William Parker Jr., certified. Candidates for City Council District 6, Doris Taylor Burke, certified. William A. Carrington, certified. Candidates for City Council District 7, Harry D. Earl Jr., ineligible. Mr. Perry is ineligible because he did not complete statements in the attestation section of the affidavit. I'm a citizen of the United States and I meet the statutory and constitutional requirements for the office, so it was not completed. Candidates for Library Board. Angela Allen, certified. Ashley R. Curry, certified. Perry D. Earl Jr., ineligible. Did not complete statements in the attestation section of the affidavit. I'm a citizen of the United States and I meet the statutory and constitutional requirements for the office, so it was not completed. Maddie McKinney Hatchett, certified. Dion A. Johnson, certified. Lacey, certified. Yvette Brinker Marion, certified. Colbert Maxey, certified. Rosie Lance Richardson, certified. Melanie Rutherford, certified. Chanel N. Weatherspoon, certified. In addition, I received a number of candidate challenges to the eligibility of candidates. I received several challenges from Maddie McKinney Hatchett. The first challenge was the candidacy of Deidre Waterman for mayor. And my decision is noted, what I've stated before, that Ms. Waterman is ineligible for certification. Maddie McKinney Hatchett also challenged Mark Collins' candidacy. Again, Mr. Holland is ineligible for certification. Maddie McKinney Hatchett challenged Perry Earl's City Council District 7 candidacy. Again, Mr. Earl is ineligible for certification. Maddie McKinney Hatchett also challenged Perry Earl's Library Board candidacy. And again, he was ineligible for certification for the previous reasons stated. I also received a challenge from Jonathan Townsend in regards to Tim Grimal's candidacy for mayor. I reviewed the documents. He made a challenge as relates to Mr. Grimal's residency, and that he made a false statement on his affidavit. Mr. Grimal has been certified. His residency is verified. Therefore, no false statement was made on the affidavit that he filed with the Office of the Clerk. So I was unable to verify that a false statement was made on his affidavit that he filed with the clerk. And that was the determining factor. In addition, Mr. Grimal submitted a response to Mr. Townsend's challenge. So I just wanted a very clear and on the record that per the charter, the clerk is the certifying officer for the city of Pontiac, not this commission. The commission has the authority to approve the ballot. The commission does not have authority to certify any candidates. And if the commission takes a position to try to attempt to certify any candidate that has not been certified by the city clerk, who is the certifying officer for the city of Pontiac, then the commission is acting beyond its authority that was given to it by the charter of the city of Pontiac, which in essence is the governing document. And then in addition, as well as it's stated within the state law, clearly if the commission has the authority to certify, then it wouldn't say an officer shall not certify to the Board of Election Commissioners, right within the Michigan Election Law Act 116 of 1954. And if, I want to also note, and if this commission takes the position of failing to do its duty, then this clerk will therefore look into legal action against this commission. Because it's clear that I personally have felt that a lot of things have been done that has not been proper, and therefore, to me, documents, charters, and things of that nature from the standpoint of a clerk are in essence your governing documents. So therefore, I think we need clear and concise, and we'll maybe need a court in essence intervention, because not like I just was saying, that I would hope that the commission would not act beyond its authority. But as a clerk, it has to be clear what the authority of the clerk is and what the authority of this commission is. So I want that as well on the record. So does any commissioner have any question about my report or want to discuss any particular item?
Sure, and you just referenced acting within the scope of your authority, and I think that's a good place to start, because there's a lot of pieces of this report that I find wholly outside the scope of your authority. Several attorneys spoke today, and I believe everyone was on the same page about one thing, and that's that we have a ministerial function as this board. And so when we received the affidavits of identity, and when you received the affidavits of identity as the clerk, that is, and you went through them and you found that 3 people did not complete the affidavit properly, the law is clear that they are not able to be on the ballot. I don't necessarily agree with the law. I think it's unfortunate, but that is the state of the law right now, and we are bound to comply with it. But the remainder of the law is that your actions, again, are ministerial. And so the courts have been very clear about your ministerial authority. And as I've noted in both the Berry case, Berry v. Garrett, which noted that you have the ministerial task of completing a facial review of the affidavits, and the Bashara v. Wayne County Clerk case, which notes, ultimately, we conclude the plaintiff's proposed construction of 168.558 sub 4 would read an additional requirement into the statute requiring a county clerk to become the arbiter of truth or falsity of statements made in an affidavit of identity. We refuse to do so. And as Mr. Trebilcock pointed out, this is actually an unpublished opinion, but as Mr. Trebilcock pointed out, the Court of Appeals ruled today in the matter of Victor Burton Harris v. Wayne County Clerk, and that case actually cited to the Bashara case. So to the extent that it wasn't controlling authority, it is beginning today pursuant to the Victoria Burton Harris case. And what that means is that when you have decided arbitrarily to go beyond the 4 corners of 2 of all of these people's certification reports, that was wholly arbitrary and wholly inappropriate. The affidavit as filled out by Mayor Waterman was complete on its 4 corners. Pursuant to the controlling law, she absolutely should be on the ballot. Likewise, with Mr. Greimel, there was a substantive challenge, but you're not the arbiter of truth. Lawsuits can be filed to challenge these things. Other actions can be taken by prosecutors. And as you noted, the standard is that you shall not certify an election person, a person for election that files a false affidavit of identity. But the issue is, or that contains a false statement, that is, the issue is when it says that, it doesn't make you the investigator, but you've chosen to, again, handpick 2 people, politically motivated or not, and do a deep dive on their actual applications and the status. And likewise, as you noted, Mr. Roselle, the Director of Elections for Oakland County, did send you a letter on April 21st saying that he's determined it's a false statement. So I responded and told him I need a letter from Corp Counsel saying that you're the person that has the authority to determine that it's a false statement. He never sent a word. He never said another word to me. And I never received anything of that nature from Corp Counsel because he doesn't have that authority. That is properly rested in the judiciary or by a prosecutor that ultimately has a guilty determination by a court. And I think it's clear that this certification process was further arbitrary and capricious because although you've gone on the hunt for Mr. Dreimel and he's prepared affidavits and things of that nature to prove his residency and the fact that he's lived there for over a year, I question whether you did that for any of these others, for Brett Nicholson, McCall Goodman, Randy Carter, Kathleen James, Gloria Miller, William Parker.
Excuse me, Mr. Chubb, I did not go on the hunt for anyone. I gave you a list of all the documentations in essence that I received. You requested that information and I provided that information to you. I did not go on the hunt for any particular body. All the challenges, which I believe people are within their authority to submit challenges. You received copies of those challenges. They were all date stamped in the clerk's office, as well as the response that I received from the challenge as relates to, Mr. Grimel's response to the particular challenge. I don't necessarily even know how he became aware of that particular challenge, but whatever was turned in, and I'm sorry, I need to also add, because the report was prepared before this morning while I'm at it, we did receive 2 additional challenges, so I guess I do need to put them into the record as well. Too, so after you finish your comment, I want to add those for 2 in the record too, but the report was prepared before.
And so I think now, just on the record, you've noted that you haven't done any investigation into the underlying documentation provided or the truth underlying the documentation provided by candidates unless there was a challenge. That is the definition of arbitrary and capricious. It's wholly inappropriate. But you can respond when I finish my comments. It is wholly inappropriate, and it's why the certification is wholly indefensible. This board should not act to approve this obviously illegal action.
Let me be very clear. It is when the clerk's office receives an affidavit and petitions, by its very nature, we have to, in essence, we have to verify the petitions. So we have to go through to make sure that each particular candidate has enough nominating petitions. So that is what in essence, that we do. And we have to, in essence, review the particular affidavits. In addition to that, if somebody submits a challenge, then I think in essence it's incumbent upon me to receive that challenge, and I, in essence, read the challenge as well too. The law does not tell me not to accept challenges from people. So,
well, the law doesn't tell you not to accept challenges, but it also doesn't give you the authority to investigate and rule on them. And that's the piece that you're missing here. That portion of this certification is wrong. Everything else is accurate. And the only change is that it would result with Deirdre Waterman being on the ballot.
Well, I guess the position of this commission is either to accept, because I talked to the county, because previously, apparently 4 years ago, and I wasn't in this capacity, apparently the certification of candidates was not even done by this commission. When I reviewed all the minutes from the 2017 meetings of the commission, there was never a certification item. But I was informed by the county, when they certify candidates, the commission simply receives and places them on file. So I believe all the authority that this commission has to do, can do, receive and place in a file, or accept it as is, or not accept it at all. But it does not have, because I'm the certifying officer, it does not have the authority to amend any certification. It's not have that authority. I guess the question of who is the certifying officer for the city of Pontiac per the charter?
The duties of the election commission are set out where it notes that it has the oversight of everything arranged in the primary ballot. And you certainly have your obligations that are your ministerial obligations to review the applications for certification, but this board clearly has a role and an authority in that regard.
Right, and the authority is to, like I said, receive it or I guess accept it or not accept it. But it does not have the authority to amend it because the board is not the certifying officer. So the board would be acting without this scope if it attempted to amend any received a challenge from Robert Bass from the Community CDC. Mr. Bass is challenging the Mayor Deidre Waterman's failure to comply with the annual reporting requirement. So this is a challenge against Mayor Waterman's candidacy. I will share it and I can provide copies as well, but it was received in essence today. And I also received a challenge from H.G.O. Maxey from the New Pontiac Urban Institute. And Mr. Maxey is challenging Deidre Waterman and Perry Earl and Mark Holland. So these, you received all the other documents, so I'll make sure that you get copies of those documents as well. So the next item on the agenda is actually provide the overall, in essence, report, and is the candidate certification list. So
And consistent with our approved amendment to the agenda, I'd make a motion to amend the approved candidate list to include Deirdre Waterman.
I second
Discussion on that motion. As discussion on that particular motion, I want it clearly stated on the record, this commission is acting beyond the scope of its duty. And since this commission is acting beyond the scope of its duty, I will not certify Deidre Waterman as a candidate because the commission does not have the authority. The commission only has the authority to approve the ballot. That's why it's not an agenda item, because we don't have the ballot, but the commission does not have the authority to certify candidates. Excuse me, I'm talking. So do not be rude and interrupt me. I am the chair of the meeting. So as I was saying, because there is discussion on the matter, so I definitely want to note it. I also want to note it that as the clerk, I will take legal action against this commission if this commission makes an unauthorized move and vote to put Ms. Waterman on the ballot when it's clearly was not certified by the city clerk, the certifying officer for the city of Pontiac.
Call for the vote.
Bala?
Yes.
Judd?
Yes.
Elliott?
No, for all the reasons in essence stated. And also, I wanted also in essence noted on the record, the clerk will investigate as into the city attorney if it's a conflict for him providing this body legal advice and also being a voting member of this commission.
We are adjourned.
So, yes, and as noted, the clerk will not certify Deidre Waterman. So I don't know what the next particular steps for this body is, but I will not. So this meeting is adjourned at 3:12.